still water is considered dirty. When it runs, it's clean water, and this is what we use.
The basilica cistern was forgotten about until 1544, when a Frenchman, Pierre Gilles, became intrigued by the endless supply of water and fish the locals were pulling out of their basements. Gilles is credited with rediscovering the basilica cistern after being invited on a fishing trip underground. The basilica cistern lies more than 7.5 meters beneath the modern city. Over a vast area, everything you see, trains, restaurants, hotels, even the police station, is supported by the 6th century cistern. The marble columns credited with holding up the modern city were once submerged in water and were never meant to be seen. They were leftovers taken from nearby temples or monuments.
How come it doesn't fall down? How come, the police station isn't right there? How come this whole city hasn't caved in?
That's a good question. Now, at this point, we should remember the very important saying. City is built on 7 principal hills, like Rome. When they had a valley, they erect columns in there, put in the Roman arch, cover it. With 1 stone, you shoot 2 birds. You can have a water storage underneath, and you have a flat surface now above.
Approximately 1,500 years and 25 major earthquakes later, these columns still support the cistern and the city. But they were also intended to hide some of its secrets.
So who is this fine person?
This is Medusa from the Greek mythology.
Why is Medusa here? Is there some symbolic reason for that?
That's a very good question, actually. One explanation is, since everything is recycled material here, this is what they needed. They needed this size of a stone, they put it underneath, and they elevate it into the height they wish.
But in Istanbul, there are always other reasons.
Another explanation is 532 is the year the most Christian emperor Justinian is building across the street the Hagia Sophia, the biggest church ever built in the Roman period. He was a very religious person, and by burying Medusa, a pagan symbol, under the column, on the side, and there upside down, drowning her inside the water, he was giving a message that the pagan believes is helpless even to itself.
So not only are they storing water here, but they're hiding the past. They're burying paganism at the bottom of the cistern.
I couldn't say it better.
Istanbul has been called the City of Cisterns, and while the Basilica Cistern is the biggest, it's just one of the hundreds of ancient holes forgotten beneath the streets.
I would say even some people wouldn't know they have cisterns under their houses, and they're sitting on a heritage of 1,500 years old without even knowing it.
Nakash is in the Old Quarter and specializes in quality Turkish carpets, pottery and jewelry, but their real treasure is underground. Owner Cengiz Korkmaz agreed to take us down.
Yeah, you can definitely feel the humidity.
This is our cistern area.
Amazing. Amazing.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's amazing.
It's an incredible place.
A cistern of this size would normally require only about 8 columns for support, but this one has 18, indicating an important palace building probably had been above it, not unlike today.
You've got a massive store above it, 20,000 square feet roughly.
Yes.
What kind of considerations do you have to do to preserve this cistern?
Actually, in the process of building on top of the cistern, we really thought very carefully. We said we have to keep this place in authentic size and originality. So we did special kind of construction.
It was designed by an engineer who came up with a groundbreaking way to build the huge building above while protecting the Roman cistern below. Instead of using reinforced concrete beams, they used steel, causing 10 to 15% less pressure on the structure below, and 30% less than the older buildings once unknowingly built above the cistern.
We built more than beams that we needed to distribute the weight of the building above, so not to give any pressure to the cistern.
The main thing is that lighter weight, more columns to support it, steel columns.
Exactly.
30 steel beams instead of the required 20 were used to distribute the weight. And the engineers angled the building so it didn't sit directly on the cistern. Only 8 of the 30 beams are in contact with the cistern. It cost over £1 million. Without the cistern, it could have cost half that.
There's a lot of things underground of Istanbul. And I believe as much as we have on ground, we have much more than that underground of Istanbul. But they're all waiting to be discovered.
It's Saturday night in Istanbul, and this is the place to be. But when the Romans were here, they built the stadium twice this size. Now imagine deadly chariot races circling the field, the emperor and his family in the royal box, and about 100,000 screaming people just like these. Now this great hippodrome, it still exists. It's just about 15 feet beneath the city's streets.
An ancient racetrack, twice the size of Istanbul's biggest football stadium, just disappeared beneath the ground. Çemen Feliz Pasha is an historic guide in the busy tourist square of Sultanahmet in the Old Quarter. The modern city has spread far beyond the original Roman city walls and across the Bosphorus Strait into Asia. But remnants of the old city remain. In 306 AD, Constantine became emperor of Rome, called Constantine the Great by Christian historians for legalizing Christianity in pagan times. He also successfully united the vast Roman Empire. As the empire grew east, Rome's influence was stretched. So, in 324 AD, Constantine chose to move his capital to a strategic but provincial city called Byzantium, later Constantinople. Not long after, the Roman Empire's western provinces, including Rome, fell to the barbarians. In 330 AD, the Roman Empire, with Constantinople as its capital, became known as the Eastern Roman Empire, later the Byzantine Empire. Constantine's decision to relocate made Constantinople the most powerful place on earth. The palace, the hippodrome and the church, Hagia Sophia, were the three most important buildings of the empire. Today, Hagia Sophia is the only building of the three still standing above the ground. The original hippodrome was built in 203 AD by the Roman Emperor Septimus Severus. But in 324 AD, Emperor Constantine began to expand the original structure to rival Circus Maximus in Rome. He added more seats, enough to fit 100,000 cheering spectators, and extended the U-shaped track. He decorated the center